Family Promise National started in New Jersey. It was by a woman who saw a need for this service in her community. And so she piloted her own program called Interfaith Hospitality Network, where she included different church members and churches to provide that shelter. And then Family Promise kind of grew out of the need to provide services to those individuals. You know, shelter was a basic need that needed to be met, but then offering supportive services prolonged those individuals into more of a sustainable environment, essentially. And so now Family Promise has grown to over 200 affiliates across the nation. And so Family Promise Rochester is just one of those affiliates. Our mission is to help families experiencing homelessness and low-income families achieve sustainable independence through a community-based response.
We do that by providing shelter, case management services, life skills classes, etc., to families in the Rochester area who are experiencing homelessness. In February of 2021, we opened the doors to a static site shelter. We call it our North Star House, and we have the ability to shelter up to 5 families, or we think 18 people, though we are operating at half capacity during COVID. We currently have 11 people in shelter, 2 families.
Prior to coming into Family Promise and moving to Minnesota, my family, we were homeless for about 2-3 years, where we lived in a hotel, and it was a struggle doing it all by ourselves. And coming into Family Promise and knowing that they had our back, just being all around supportive of the families that came through the program, it helped to keep us from feeling like we were all over the place and that we didn't have anyone. We had a support system. We had somebody that was there to help us whenever we needed. It meant a lot. It still does. The life skills classes brought everybody together, and we got to talk about our experiences.
We have a large number of families that enter our shelter program, and many of them do come from out of the country. But each family that enters meets with our staff. These stories help us better understand their needs, where they're coming from, how to structure their individualized plans, and ultimately help them integrate into a new community. And this has led us to understand how they feel about our services that they receive from our staff and our volunteers, helps us understand what their expectations and needs are. For example, we recently created a meal exchange program that is culturally relevant, and it provides us the opportunity for cultural exchange between our program participants and our volunteers who are providing meals.
We are also piloting a new program where we're offering a little bit more of what's called shelter diversion. So trying to divert those families that are at risk of experiencing homelessness and trying to keep them in the place that they're at, just to kind of avoid the trauma of shelter if possible.
We know that racism is the reason why the majority of those people we serve are people of color. And we also know that we still have a lot of work to do to make that truth more visible and to change that reality. So we strive to do better at committing ourselves to addressing the racism that's robbing many children of their housing, their opportunities, their futures. And that's also why we are working hard to expand the diversity of our staff, our volunteers, our board. We are beginning to recognize that having diversity and the wide range of perspectives that brings are critical to helping us carry out our mission in the most compassionate way possible. We also need to keep that emphasis on the trauma that comes from living in poverty, being a person of color in poverty, being an immigrant, etc. And so that's been how we have sort of geared our programs.
It's a really awesome program. The support system, they help lay a foundation for those who are in the program coming in, struggling to get on their own 2 feet. They work tirelessly for these families. And I can say that firsthand, that they did whatever they needed to do to make sure that we were okay. It's an awesome program. I love Family Promise. I do.